In March of 2019, I started university at the University of Technology, Sydney. 3 years, 3 months, and 1 day later, on June 9th, 2022, I completed my final ever exam. And on October 27th of 2022, I received my bachelor's degree in games development. But was it worth it? Before I jump into my own experience and my perspective, ask yourself what worth it means to you. What are you trying to get out of university? Do you want to work on the next Elder Scrolls game? Are you expecting to get a high-paying salary out of it? Or are you like me? Do you just have a passion for something and want to learn about it? As I was finishing my senior year of high school in 2017, I had no idea what I wanted to pursue. During this time, I was representing Australia as a competitive figure skater. It was my biggest focus. I wasn't good at school and really just didn't care for it anymore, but I did enjoy one class. I chose to do a software development subject at school where I was first introduced to the Unity game engine and to the idea of making games. I got a lot of enjoyment just making dumb games with and for my friends, and they were far from good, but they were ours. So a few years after finishing high school, I chose to continue this journey of making games, purely because of that enjoyment that I got from making them with my friends. I wasn't concerned about a career or a salary, I just wanted to learn how to make games and follow my passion. So that's what I chose to do at university. I want to note as well, I attended a university in Sydney, Australia, where we have an extremely generous student help loan for domestic students. It covers student fees, meaning you don't have to pay for anything until you start earning a salary above a certain threshold. For context, the average cost of an undergraduate bachelor's degree in Australia can range from 20 to 40,000 Australian dollars. This is the equivalent of 12 to 25,000 US dollars. And that's for the entire degree. So when it came time to choosing a degree for me, I didn't even consider the job prospects or the salary from it. Because I'm in a privileged position in Australia, I was able to prioritize my passion and make this decision for uni. I'm extremely proud of the things I learned and the projects that I worked on. For this, I will always say that it was worth it. But that's not going to be the case for everyone, including a handful of people who actually did this degree. For university, or really any higher education, I believe you get out what you put in. If you've seen my previous videos, I went over my learning experience and progression, starting from not trying and not knowing anything, all the way to realizing that I went to university for game development, and I want to make some really cool projects and try and prove my worth. With that mindset and a lot of determination as well, I was able to make some really cool projects, and with that came some amazing opportunities. But was all of this worth it? If this sounds like you, here's some things you should consider. If you're thinking about going to university to study a games development degree, I highly recommend researching the university and the degree itself thoroughly before undertaking it. This means going on the university's website and looking at the course structure, outline and outcomes, and check to see what kind of opportunities come as part of the degree, things like internships or studio experience. Even go on forums of the university or try to talk to people that you might know who went to that uni and see what they have to say about it. Try to find the bad reviews and the good reviews so that you can understand more about the degree. So how important is getting a job straight out of university to you? To most people, that's a no-brainer. You go to university to get a degree to get a job, right? Well, that's definitely a thing to consider with game development. Research what the games industry is like where you live. What are job listings like in your area for game developers? Could you be able to work remote as well? What other opportunities might be related to game development? Another thing to consider on this is that your major will not always equal your career. I know people who took music and sound design who have ended up working as programmers in their careers. I also know people who did exercise and sports science and are now teachers. Doing a degree in games development doesn't always mean you will work in the games industry, and of course that works the opposite way. You could also consider doing a more general computer science degree and end up working in a games industry anyways. Okay, so I've talked about a bunch of different points surrounding a games degree, but what does the degree itself offer that something more generalized like a computer science degree doesn't? Well, from my experience, there were sort of two main things: the fundamentals of game engines like Unity or Unreal Engine, and studio project management methodologies. Okay, so those are big words. What does it mean? Well, most game studios are going to run differently, but all will utilize some form of project management methodology like Agile. All this is just what a project's development lifecycle looks like. There's the planning all the way from before any actual development is done, all the way to during its development, all the way until after the project is complete. And my game degree taught these principles extremely well through studio-based subjects. I got to work in a group where we created an initial game design document, iterate on our own game through sprints, practice playtesting sessions to gain user feedback, and maintain documentation of our game's overall development. Okay, now that being said, those are things that aren't specifically taught through other generalized degrees. However, learning the fundamentals of game engines is extremely possible without the need for a university degree. In fact, given the number of resources online that are available to virtually everyone, you should utilize that. They're there for a reason. So, taking away that point, we're left with the practice of project management methodologies, something that isn't as easily teachable on its own, but in almost all IT degrees, it's something that they'll cover at some point. So game studios all work in some forms of teams, and games degrees will enforce this through collaborative projects that ensure that your communication and teamwork skills are built up and strong enough for the industry. Alright, so my advice on this. If you're really stuck on deciding whether you want to do a games degree or not, just don't. Really. The only argument I can give for it, and why I don't regret taking it myself, is that I have a passion to learn about game development, and I was in a privileged position where I could take an education without worrying about immediately getting a full-time job afterwards, or really worrying about the cost of the degree. You can still be passionate about learning game development, but if landing a job is the most important part, I would always recommend an IT or computer science degree instead. Game development is extremely popular, and there are countless tutorials online that can help you get started for that instead. I would also love to hear you guys' opinions on this as well, so make sure to leave a comment down below and tell me what game development degrees are like where you are, or if you've done a game dev degree yourself, or any other thoughts you have about them. Now, if you watched my video on my progression through my game development degree, you might remember me talking about my first capstone project, Thorn. Well, in that video, I had mentioned that it's a project that I wanted to take on again, this time as a properly published game where we created all the assets ourselves, expand on the storyline, gameplay, and the replayability. Well, since that video was published, I met with two of the other developers of that game, and we have started development of a brand new version. The game is in an extremely early prototype stage at the moment, but we do have a projected timeline, so over the next few weeks I will start releasing some devlogs of the process, which I'm super excited about. As we are in the super early stages of this project as well, we would love to hear your ideas and suggestions for things that can be added into the game. You can even go check out our original version on our itch page here. I want to give a big thanks to my friend Matt, who has helped a lot on the recent two videos, and who is also one of the lead developers for Thorn. So if you guys want to follow him and see what he's up to, I will leave his details in the description of this video. Again, I can't thank you all enough for the support you have shown the channel so far. I can't wait to be able to share what I've been working on and keep growing this community. If you guys haven't already, please like this video and subscribe to the channel to keep up to date with the development of our game, as well as any content relating to game development, and leave a comment letting me know what you want to see next. Thank you all, and I can't wait to see you again in the next video.